So where I left off before was sex for the high value male, relationships for the high earning male, ignoring, and the cold shoulder for all the rest. So basically what this means is that socially, if you're not a high value male, you're nothing to men, or excuse me, you're nothing to women. If you're not a high value male, you might as well not exist. In fact, I would go so far as to say that if you're not a high value male, they don't want you to exist. This is a cruel part of female nature. I'm not saying all women, but particularly women who are in the hunt for a man, and I believe there's a process that women go through in this hunt for a man, and the process from an abstract viewpoint can be very basic, which is they go out, or is very basic, which is they go out, they seek the high value male for sex. Once that dries up, either they have a kid or they hit the wall. Men no longer want to sleep with them, and they realize, okay, my currency, which is sex, has dried up. At that point, they try to settle down. Now that's the overview or the spectrum of that process. But during that process, they don't give a crap about anyone who's not a high value male. In fact, they don't even want any man who's not a high value male to be around them. And you'll know this because if they don't view you as a high value male, they won't even give you the time of day on the street. You'll know exactly how they feel about you by the way they treat you. So if you're not a high value male, and if you're not benefiting them in any way, you might as well not exist. They wouldn't care. In fact, the way women treat babies, calling them parasites, right? Calling them leeches because, oh, it's my body that they're feeding off of. I can't think of a more cruel thing than that for a mother to say something like that. It's frankly inhuman, very inhuman. I think on par with Hitler saying Jews aren't people, on par with Hitler saying ill people and the disabled shouldn't live, and Hitler implementing eugenics. I think it's really on par with that. I think abortion is on par with eugenics. Okay, bottom line. It's one of the most cruel things I can think of. Unless, the one caveat, the pregnancy is the result of rape. That's the one caveat that I have. If it's a result of rape, in that case, I think abortion is justified. So that is the spectrum of the process that these women go through, and this is, I'm not saying all women, but it's I believe it's the majority. They seek the high value male for sex. They seek the high earner for relationships. He is a high earner because he has high value. So they want a high value man. If you're not a high value man, you may as well not exist. Now that is the third. Now we're coming into the third of the trifecta, which is ignoring and giving the cold shoulder for all the rest of the men. So if you're not a high value male for sex, you're not physically attractive, in the time period that she wants to go have sex with a physically attractive man, you may as well not exist. She's going to ignore you. Also, she's going to ignore the man who's a good earner during that time, because she doesn't want to settle down during that time. And women have admitted this. Women have, by and large, admitted to saving the nice guys for last. There's a great video out there. I don't know if you can find it. This woman totally admitting that nice guys finish last and trying to argue that it's a good thing. Trying to say, oh, it's a good thing that nice guys finish last because, when we're ready to settle down, then we'll come for you, like some kind of silver lining in her slut playbook. Like, seriously, I mean, wow, like great, I get to have the used goods. Great. And then of course women will always argue and try to pull that rabbit out of their hat and say, oh, men have sex too. No, only the highest value men have sex. Only the top 5 to 10% quality of men have sex. The rest of the men get whatever they get. Usually it's nothing. Because most men are not having regular sex with regular women. They'd be lucky to get a girlfriend, and they'll call you an incel. They'll attack you for saying that, but it's just the truth. Most men do not have access to sex the way that women have access to sex. And until women admit that, we can never be even close to equal. We can never be even close to transparent. We can never even be close to honest or having accountability between the sexes, because they'll always pull that card. They'll always say, guys do it too, when in reality, they're only choosing the highest top 5 to 10% tier of men. So that's not honest, bottom line. So they'll ignore you. And the last thing is they'll shame you. They'll shame you if you question their behavior. Everything that I say in all my videos, everything that I say in the red pill truths, these red pill truths that I talk about, women will attack, question, shame, and try to turn around on me. Try to turn around on anyone, any man who's speaking these truths, and they've got a lot of tools and a lot of weapons in their arsenal to do that, and they're all personal attacks. They will never argue the fact. They will never take accountability for their actions. They will always argue against the bearer of the truth. They will always argue against and attack the person who is speaking the truth every time. Okay? Every time, because it's not in their interest to admit the truth. I would say maybe 1 in 5,000 will admit the truth. Okay, maybe 1 in 1,000, but probably not. Probably between 1 and 5,000 will admit the truth. That, yeah, women take advantage. Yeah, women have privilege. Yeah, women have power over the sexual market. Yeah, women do the choosing. Yeah, women manipulate men for our money, for our sex, for our attention, everything. Yes, probably 1 in 5,000 will admit that. And there are great women out there who do admit that, who do fight for men's rights, who are on our side. They're very few, but there are some. So I can't be like MGTOW men and say, oh, all women are like that. I don't believe that's true, but I believe it's the majority. So the last thing of the trifecta, which is an additional point, is that women will shame any man who does that, and they'll do it in the most gruesome, cruel way, because you're an enemy. You're an enemy of their quote-unquote autonomy, of their quote-unquote so-called freedom that feminism has so wondrously granted them, right? This freedom to be a slut. I'm a slut and I'm proud, right? Why are you proud of being a slut? There's nothing to be proud of there. Like, hey, okay, you like sex, that's one thing. Just say you like sex and admit that there's a disparity in the equity of sexuality. Admit that it's not the same for men and women. If you can admit that and you say, hey, you know what, I just like sex, it is what it is. I understand that I'm used goods. I understand that a man might not want me, after I have a bunch of sex partners. If you can do that, hey, I'll shake your hand if you're a woman. Hey, because you're honest and you admitted something that's true, okay? And I'll say, hey, yeah, man, I respect that. You know, I don't know why, because I respect the truth. I don't necessarily respect slutting around, but I respect the truth. What I don't respect is slutting around and still wanting to be treated like you didn't slut around. That's a lie, okay? That is a falsity. That is a perpetuated, it's just a perpetuated falsity. You're perpetuating a lie. You're trying to give yourself more value than you actually have. And this is why women shame men, because they don't want to lose the value. They don't want to lose the opportunities as if they are pure and whatever, when in reality, the more you have sex, the more your quality goes down.